The gentleman yields back. The chair recognizes Mr. Westerman for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you to the witnesses. And my first question is going to be for the Coast Guard and the NTSB. Obviously, everybody just about has offered their condolences to the families of the people who lost their lives, but I'm thinking if I were a family member, I would want more than condolences. I would have questions that I wanted answered. And the first question is why? I think from the information that we've received so far, the explanation would be we had vulnerable infrastructure and we had a ship that lost power. But I think there's a deeper question as to why. And also, what are we going to do about that so that it doesn't, we don't get a repeat incident? If the ship had a tug escort, would it have hit the bridge even after it lost power?
We're looking into that as part of our investigation. I can't answer that right now. It's a question that we have, but it is something we're delving into.
The same for the Coast Guard. We don't know whether there was sufficient time to have made a difference or whether it would have added to the casualty or not.
I hope that's something that you're looking into and looking at other places around the country where these large ships are passing by vulnerable infrastructure without tugs. I know Mr. Graves talked about the ship in New Orleans, and from my understanding, all those ships down there now have tug escorts. Mr. Bott, you're here to discuss the need for a massive bridge reconstruction that will require years-long effort and billions of dollars from the American taxpayer. Meanwhile, those very taxpayers have been waiting for over 2 years for FHWA to perform repairs to a washed-out gravel road on White Rock Mountain in Franklin County, Arkansas, in my district. This road provides access to Forest Service concessionaire facilities, not to mention critical passage for emergency services in the area. The project has already been funded, but is apparently so tied up in red tape that my office can't even get a clear answer from your agency on when the washout will be filled. If FHWA is unable to reconstruct a gravel road in less than 2 years and counting, why should we trust your agency with billions in funding for a project of this magnitude?
Thank you, Congressman. I'm happy to go back and take a look and figure out exactly what is going on with that project and report back to your office.
Thank you. And this, I guess, would be for the Corps and for Mr. Bott, but there's an issue that happened in Floyd Bennett Field, which is a National Park Service facility in New York City. And you may ask, what in the world does that have to do with this project? But I'll tell you what it has to do. This administration used alternative arrangements to waive every NEPA and environmental regulation in the Park Service to build a migrant camp, and they did that in less than 2 weeks. They waived all those regulations. I'm wondering if the administration has the intent to use alternative arrangements, not just CEs, but alternative arrangements to repair this bridge, which is obviously very vital infrastructure.
So we are in close coordination with Maryland DOT. We are not going to waive NEPA, but it is our strong likelihood that we'll end up with a categorical exclusion because we're replacing a bridge in relatively the same footprint that existed before.
Does the administration have the legal authority to waive NEPA, to use alternative arrangements to even go beyond the CE?
Sir,
the answer is yes, and they can do that. And it's amazing to me that they would do it on a Park Service facility that 1 million visitors in New York City use to build a migrant camp, yet it doesn't seem to be an option on the table to rebuild this vital piece of infrastructure. And I hope the administration would not only afford this same luxury to critical infrastructure, but also to a lot of smaller projects around the country that get tied up in the process when the administration has full authority to do that. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I yield back.